Madi Shehu. Yes, you would get details of the story on page 3 and 4 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Anambra Guba, INEC warns parties against invalid nominations. Yes, you would get more details on page 3 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Why Alia locked out commissioners, civil servants during unscheduled visits. Yes, you would get more of this story on 29 of the New Telegraph newspaper. NAS asks ministry to return 2 billion naira to agencies. Yes, supporting details on page 5 of the New Telegraph newspaper. We are abandoned projects. FCT doctors lament. Begin 3-day strike. Yes, on page 4 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And all medical related students to spend longer years in school. Yes, you would get details of the story on page 2 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And lastly, traffic pollution linked to women's mental health. Yes, you would get supporting details of the story on page 30 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And that's all we have for the New Telegraph newspaper.
I'll be reviewing the Nation newspaper. NLC TUC CNG rejects 50% telecom traffic hike. NUC pharmacy, physiotherapy, optometry, now 6 years courses. The UK to sustain collaboration with Nigeria on democracy. That can be found in page 4. Federal government has spent 300 billion naira on FCT councils, says Wiki. That can be found in page 28. Kidnapped suspect arrested after receiving 1 million ransom. That can also be found in page 27 of the Nation newspaper. Financial sector regulator rules out hyperinflation. That can be found in page 5 of the Nation newspaper. Ekweremadu's wife returned from UK prison. That can be found in page 25. Lastly, why Damajum should continue in office till December by NWC members. That can be found in page 4 of the Nation newspaper.
Beautiful. That's a very good one for my colleague this morning, and you have heard from them. We'll be reviewing the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Moving forward, on our top left-hand side, we are having Tinubu commits over 300 billion to infrastructural development of FCT satellite towns, said by Wiki. We can read about that on page 11 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Bello Tuji's camp in disarray. Troops killed, second in command, 24 others. Sokoto government alerts residents on fleeing bandits. We can read about
Claim. Yes, you would get supporting details of the story on page 3 of the Punch Sport Extra. 115 FFP. Alan backs City to avoid penalty. Yes, more of these details on page 4 of the Punch Sport Extra. Lewandowski equals Ronaldo UCL record. Yes, you would also get more of these details on page 3 of the Punch Sports Extra. United lower Garnacho asking price. Page 5 of the Punch Sports Extra. Cricket. Nigeria to face England, Ireland in World Cup. Yes, you would get more of the story on page 2 of the Punch Sports Extra. Hamilton makes Ferrari debut. Yes, more of this story on page 2 of the Punch Sports Extra. Osimhen charges Gala teammates after Europa draw. Okay, sorry, I've talked about that. Old guards, Musa Ideye face off reignites NPFL rivalry. Yes, you would get more of these details on page 6 of the Punch Sports Extra. And lastly, UCL goal trails, says Lookman. Yes, you would get more of these details on page 7 of the newspaper. Quickly, let's go on a short break before we give insight, analysis of our stories from the Nigerian newspaper, and also stories regarding the Niger Delta region. Yes, if you want to be a part of this discussion, you can call on the number displayed on your screen. And also for your comments and contributions, follow our various platforms on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, and also on YouTube at GbaramatuVoice. And don't forget to visit our website, yes, for more detailed story, www.GbaramatuVoiceNews.com. Yes, welcome back from that short break. Do not forget, if you want to be a part of this conversation, kindly call the number displayed on your screen, and also your comments and contributions will go a long way. So quickly, we'll be reviewing our stories from Nigerian newspaper. So I think, David, do you want to start first?
Okay, let me start first. Let's review the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Under the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, NLC kicks against 50% telecom tariff hike, 6 reversal. The Nigerian Labour Congress has condemned the federal government's recent approval through the Nigerian Communication Commission for a 50% increase in telecommunication tariffs. Actually, the Nigerian Labour Congress are not really happy about the initiative of the telecommunications department on the hike on the rate at which they increase the revenue which they need in operation in order for them to provide a comfortable service for its consumers. They are not really happy about the hike because it took them less than a month for them to bring this hike, and for them to even give
Increase
approval for the
minimum
increase
wage.
of minimum wage. It took
over a
over a
year.
year to increase it to 70,000 naira. And for that 70,000 naira, for the telecommunication, for Nigerians, for everybody, we do all our business using telecommunication. We make calls, and through this call that we make, it's expected that everybody is going to spend minimum 50%. Okay, let's assume the minimum 50%, 70% is 15,000 naira. So 10,000 naira minimum. So inside that 70,000 naira minimum wage, you are going to remove as little or as much as 15,000 naira just to make call. When you minus 15,000 from 70,000, what's left? And that 70,000 is not even enough for Nigerians to be able to
daily
cover up their daily expenses. They are still clamoring on trying how they are going to increase their, the minimum wage to a reasonable amount. Now imposing that initiative of increasing the rate at which they are going to use their telecommunication to make calls is very outrageous. Though a lot of organizations, a lot of prominent personnel, a lot of people have been contributing, saying that there are various ways in which the telecommunication department can raise revenue for them to implement or impose
rather than just imposing on us.
Yes, on us. For them to raise revenue, for them to carry out proper operation, if they assume that they need to expand, the ideas which people have been contributing for them to bring about this innovation is MTN, which is the leading telecommunication we have today, followed by Airtel, followed by Glo, is now a bigger brand. And now that it's already a bigger brand, it can be opened for other people for them to buy shares.
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Yes, when people buy shares from MTN, that's a way for them to generate revenue, for them to carry out their operation, instead of just imposing the cost of price, the cost of
on us.
The cost of probably what they are going to use to give a proper, what they call proper breakdown for them to carry out their operation. And when you impose such initiative on the people, it's not really easy for them, because we make use of course of our daily activities, and it's really affecting people today.
In fact, even data, it has touched every aspect.
It's both airtime is moving from 4 naira to 6 naira. Data is moving from 350 naira per gig to 500 naira. So just imagine, a lot of people now, they will not prefer making direct calls. They will prefer using
that was what I wanted to even ask.
Like WhatsApp, Telegram.
But do you think it's actually even cheap as well? Are you thinking cheap. It's not same thing?
It's
because people are actually saying that, agitating that, they're no longer going to be using normal calls. Instead, probably they'll be using WhatsApp calls and all of that. But I was still even saying that, yes, it's also got to WhatsApp was actually increased as well. Sorry, not WhatsApp. Data was also increased as well. So do you think it's actually cheap?
It won't be cheap at all.
It will be same thing.
People prefer using WhatsApp call because that is data. When you talk about direct call is like SMS. Okay. And SMS is going to charge more. So let's assume people will now, like 70 or 80% of Nigerians, or even people from Africa, they stop using MTN. They stop using SMS to make call. They now started using WhatsApp. They even patronize social media the more.
Yes, more.
Yes, they now patronize social media the more, and that is going to make the SMS, the telecom to even lose their customers. So it's not really a good one. That's why a lot of people, a lot of agencies, a lot of prominent people, both the local, both the minor, both the major people, they are actually complaining that they should try to sit down to readjust the 50% hike. The 50% hike is too much. So it's not really a good idea at all, because it's really going to affect. Now is not really the right time for you to bring the idea of increasing the rate at which people communicate.
Well, we are deliberating on fuel the other day.
Yes.
Now, cost of wherever. But it's actually, I just believe this sector, they are actually clamoring that cost of operations it's now very high.
Yes.
But according to what my colleague said, there are other ways you can still put in seeking for revenue. Yes, there are obviously people interested and to be a part of this telecom sector. So I think instead of imposing on Nigerians, there are other ways you can still come about it. I know everything is expensive and the cost of your operations is expensive as well. So there are other ways you can just look for revenue as well. That's a very good one for my colleague.
Even the Nigerian Labour Congress president, Comrade Joe Ajiero, he also said telecommunication are services essential for our daily communications, work and access to information. That's a very nice idea from the Nigerian Labour Congress president, who is in person of Comrade Joe Ajiero. He has stated that we should stop using communication is very, very important for our daily activities. That's why he is suggesting for them to readjust, to sit down again, to see how they can, re-strategize and not to impose this hike on Nigerians, the consumers who are using these platforms to make calls. So it's a good one, and at the same time, it's not really a good one. It's a good idea that they have started. So it's just for them to sit down, to re-strategize.
Just review it.
Yes, not to just impose this hike on the consumers. The consumers are really trying. They are still suffering from fuel hike. They are still suffering from various issues like that is still pressing. So that's a good one. That's a good one. So.
Yes, that's that for that.
I'll be reviewing the Punch newspaper, and the main headline: Kano to Niger Republic Rail Project. Communities tackle FG over compensation for 3,252 owners. So the ongoing Kano to Maradi rail project, which cost about $1.96 billion, was approved in 2022 to connect Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa states in Nigeria to Maradi in Niger Republic. So part of it has been funded, and over 3,000 people from 122 communities were displaced. Over 3,000 people. So when the project was ongoing, there were a lot of people being displaced. Their farmlands were being taken away, their houses, nowhere to sleep, and they were being promised a compensation. But currently, over 3,252 owners were not compensated.
Has not been compensated. Wow.
So it is something to look into. It is something the government should look into. There were about 122 communities, and in 122 communities, 3,252 people owners were not compensated. Although some communities, due to the audits that was found, about 32% of affected individuals, they were unhappy. Some communities have received their payment, while some of them are yet to receive their payment. So this is something that is quite terrifying, and the government should critically look into it. Is there anything you want to chip into this?
I think that is actually not a good one. The government really needs to look into this, because it will not be fair on their side. Taking myself for example, if something like that happened to me, I lost my farmland, I lost my house, my houses, I lost properties, and I am not compensated for it. It won't be fair on me. It won't be fair on me. And seeing it that some people, some communities is already being compensated for it, and me, I'm being left out. It will not be fair on me. So I think the government should look into that. Take a critical
in-depth view of what they think. That is actually called marginalization. That is actually called deprivation too. Some people have been deprived of their basic human rights. When you are doing something like that in terms of compensation, there should be what they call oneness. There should be what they call equality. There should be equality in distribution of these resources, in distribution of these resources and rewards. When some people lose their farmland, when some people lose their properties, their resources in everything that they are doing, and some people are being compensated while some people are being marginalized,
not being compensated,
it's not really okay at all. So that is why it is essential for there to be oneness, for there to be equality in this distribution of awards, in this distribution of resources, in this distribution of oneness and activities like that. So that's why we're clamoring on the government to see what they can do, in order for this rewards and compensation to touch the marginalized people,
Yes.
the
Everybody.
marginalized communities.
Yes.
Not that some people
Will be giving
this,
and some will
resources, while some people will not be giving these resources at all. That is not really a good one. So that is what the lead story is actually clamoring on. There should be oneness, there should be equality, and there should be proper distribution of these rewards, of this compensation, of these resources across these communities, across these people that they call victims, people that have been that have been affected by this,
victimized.
Yes.
By
victimized
this.
by this issue. So that's it about it. Not much thing.
That's a good one. And don't forget to ship in your call with the number displayed on the screen if you want to be a part of this conversation. So quickly, I'll be reviewing a story on the Guardian newspaper. Okay, 22 deaths, 143 confirmed cases of Lassa fever recorded in 2 weeks. Oh my God, that's actually not a good one. Okay, I'm reading NCDC, that's the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, advocates collaborative action on health emergencies. About 22 deaths and 143 confirmed cases of Lassa fever were recorded out of 484 suspected cases across 7 states and 32 local councils from December 30, 2024 to January 12, 2025. Now, Lassa fever has actually outbursted. It has affected close to 7 states. I will be reading, I'll be talking about some of the states it has actually affected. Now, it has affected Ondo State. It has affected Edo State. It has affected Bauchi. It has affected Taraba. It has affected Ebonyi and even in Gombe. Now, according to Lassa fever situation report obtained from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 6 deaths occurred in Ondo, 5 in Edo, 2 in Bauchi, 6 in Taraba, 2 in Ebonyi, and 1 in Gombe. That is very, very outrageous. I was thinking Lassa fever has actually gone. Now they've reported cases. NCDC has actually reported cases. There have been a situation report of about close to 22 deaths from Lassa fever. I think we should be more careful, because if people start dying like this, now we have over how many people that has died. It has affected Edo, it has affected Ondo, it has affected Bauchi, and all of that. So I think measures should be put in place so that now we have just 7 states. Obviously, it's going to enter other states and all of that. So even if your state is not mentioned here right now, we need to put in measures to avert this. Now, Lassa fever is obviously caused by exposing food. Yes, some people doesn't even know about this. If you expose your food, then obviously contaminated rats will obviously contaminate the food rather. So I think we should put in measures to avert this Lassa fever, the outbreak of this Lassa fever. So more records will not be recorded.
Yes.
Because obviously this thing is killing people.
Yes.
People are dying from this incident. So if you have a food in your house, just put in measures. Make sure the food are well preserved, are well covered from these from rats, because that's one of the major cause of Lassa fever, and it's actually not a good one at all. It will obviously kill more people. Yes. Because there is no how we want to do it. It will keep people. But now NCDC is actually working on this, and they are actually calling more bodies, other bodies for support to tackle this outbreak.
So that's how it is. For the 7 states that we have mentioned, Ondo, Edo,
Bauchi, Gombe.
That does not mean that it has not spread. For it to be on these 7 states, that means that it has cut across even almost the whole 36 states that we're having in Nigeria.
And probably it has not been recorded.
Yes, and it has not been recorded. And so the NCDC now, they are trying to say that, please, all external bodies, all internal bodies, all stakeholders, everybody that is being impacted, everybody that is being affected by this should try their possible best to see how they can create awareness, to create sensitization. Sensitization should be made for them to be able to pass and disseminate this information to the masses. A lot of people don't really know about the cause of Lassa fever, and that is why many of them they just because of it might not be about carelessness. Some people they are not really aware that if they leave their food open, probably your rice, your bag of rice or sack of rice or bag of garri in your house, you not close them at all. So you don't know that rats can enter inside. They will come and dance inside those inside those rats inside your garri. Maybe you go for a walk when you are not around, they will just come. They say that you not cover your rice. They come because them too they want to eat.
There are some people that even see these rat poo in garris and all of that, and they say nothing is happening.
We will say that is how they call it now crayfish and crayfish. So we just mix out together those kind of things. So it's not really fair. Those kind of things cause Lassa fever, and Lassa fever can be on your system for a very long time. You might not know.
You might not be aware.
When
now starts healing, that is when you now know that.
When you start seeing the effects, most of the times that's already gone beyond what you can even cure. So that is why the NCDC they are working on their possible. They are trying to do everything possible for them to create measures, for them to sensitize people, for them to create awareness through the media station, through through social media, through advertisement, through everything possible for them to avoid more death rates, because it's already getting outrageous. For we to record 7 states, that does not mean that it's only 7 states.
I thought it was already gone.
Across the whole state, that even in Lagos, it's in Abuja, it's in Delta, it's in Ondo, it's in everywhere. So everybody should try your possible best. Anyhow you can do to protect yourself, to preserve all your food stores, your water, your drinkables, your eatable, everything that you need to put inside your system, because health is wealth. There is no other greatest wealth than your health.
When you are
alive, when you are thinking well, that is when you'll be able to be proactive. You can see how proactive I am. I'm very proactive. I'm very strong.
Yes, I can see that.
That does not mean I don't have Lassa fever. That is if I don't
you don't have
preserve my food stuff.
Yes, you have
that's
to.
Why the NCD is applicable to everybody. Not because we are saying it, that does not mean that we should not take care
put in measures.
So please, everybody should try their possible best to put in measures for you to curb this situation so it does not spread. Because Nigeria is a very funny place. We before you know, a lot of things are going to spread. So that is all we have about this Lassa fever issue. And
oh yes, in fact that was a very beautiful one. Yes, from my colleague, he has said it all. Yes, he has said it all. Let's just make sure we put in the measures, to curb this issue so it doesn't get extended from the current situation reports. Let's just make sure our foods are properly covered, things are properly preserved, to avoid these issues. Yes, quickly we'll be diving into stories from the Niger Delta region. I don't know, has any of you come up with any stories? David, Karina, do you want to go first? I think our audience, they are expecting.
Okay.
And sorry for cutting you. If you want to be a part of this conversation, if you want to ship in your idea, 1 or 2, make sure to call the number displayed on your screen. We want to hear your contributions. We want to see your comments from our lives. Yes, quickly.
Okay. Talking about issues that are surrounding the Niger Delta region. Ondo Muslim cleric causes courts for killing wife and son. This happened in Ondo State. Not just in Ondo State, it happened in Warri local government area of Ondo State.
I'm quite familiar with that area.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with it. So it's actually when you're going to Ekiti, when you're going to...
Yes.
So you must actually pass through... Warri is a prominent place.
Yes.
It's a global place in Ondo State. So this incident actually happened in Ondo. A court war which happened on January 6th in our local government area of Ondo State led to the killing of a chieftain of All Progressive Congress, Fishayo Oladipo, and 2 others. This has happened. This court war has started since January 6th, and the people of our community have actually been saying that they'll be calling on the government to see how they can put in measures to call on security leaders and call on security agencies for them to, provide justice to this situation that is on ground. But it is so unfortunate that the political leaders in the Ondo State, in the our local government area, they've been boycotting this issue. Whenever people talk about this issue, they don't want to bring it to the media just because
they're not saying anything
they're
about
not saying anything about it. That is why Imam Adedokun, who broke his silence since the incident occurred, said his wife and his son was attacked in their shop. They went to their shop in the evening for them to at least go for their source for their daily meal. And during that process, this incident will come in form of herdsmen, can come in form of ungown non-men. So when they come, they've come to kill his wife and his son. That is why he came to swear that the cleric got angry and involved the authority of his grandfather, Al-Mustaf Adedeji Jika Anobi, who is credited and is the pioneer of Islam in Owo and Ondo State, as a whole, to cause the leaders who are involved in the killing and the perpetrators of the killing in Ondo State and our local government area. So it's not really a good one. The man is not really happy. This cleric Muslim is not really happy. So that is why he has come to lay a curse on people that are hiding behind political leaders, that are hiding behind traditional leaders, that are hiding behind monarchs, to perpetuate evil, for them to cause violence in the community. It's not really a good one at all. So we're using this opportunity to call on everybody that is being affected by this situation, that the government are going to look into it, and they are actually creating measures too. That's why the fact that it's looking as if nothing is being done. The government, they are looking into it, and things are going to be brought to justice. And those perpetrators are going to be brought to justice too, because you can't come and harm somebody and you will go scot-free. If you are not caught today, you will be caught tomorrow. Because there's a word saying every day for the thief was one day for the
owner.
For the owner. So if you keep clamoring, if you keep committing evil, if you keep doing evil like that, one day, justice is going to be for you. So please, everybody that is being affected in our local government area.
Sorry, and you see that Owo.
Yes.
That Owo is, in fact, is like the house of cultism.
Yes.
I keep saying this. I don't know. I don't know what our youths are actually they actually like involving themselves in cultism. Cultism is very, very rampant in Owo. In fact, the killing that goes on all the time, it is because people has actually not been touching news on that our local government. Yes. Okay, I think we're having a call from someone. Okay. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Am I on to Baramatu Voice?
Yes, this is Baramatu Voice TV, reaching you from the Niger Delta Media Centre. Sir, please, can we know your name and where you're calling from?
I'll tell you my name. My name is Mr. David Eyesan.
Okay.
Calling right from Ugulu. I want to say this is the first time of me watching it live, and I'm enjoying the vibes of Baramatu Voice.
Wow, that is nice.
Thank you so very much. You are Beth, right?
Yes, sir. I'm Beth.
Yes, I know the other guy, David Sheriff.
Wow, yes.
My good son. I want to say I'm enjoying the show. You guys are doing so well, bringing the news.